Alright, hi, welcome everyone. This is Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. I'm going to be running reverse event order for you guys, but this is a pretty complex speed run, a pretty complex category of a very, very complicated game. So I brought on some help to help me talk to you guys about exactly what's going on. My good friend and another one of this game, Sigma.
Hey guys, hey Shed, thanks for having me on here. I'll just be trying to run through the explanations of what's actually happening, as it happens very quickly in this run that Shed's going to be going through.
Yes, it does. You will definitely see that as we go. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1, go! Quick skip of the intro, prologue, tutorial, story, whatever, cutscene stuff, and we are into the game. Ori and the Blind Forest is a 2D Metroidvania platformer. What that means is that we start off here as this little dude Ori with just the ability to run and jump. And we are tasked with exploring the world, finding more skills to explore the world even more and find more skills, etc., etc. And it's pretty great, but just right now all we can do is run and jump. Right here we're going to collect our first energy cell. Energy is a resource that we can use to do multitude of things. Right now, all it's going to allow us to do is to save the game. Those save points we can place are entirely player-controlled, which is a pretty neat facet of this game. There's very few autosaves at all. But here we are approaching our first skill, Sign. Sig, what does Sign do?
Sign's the basic attack in this game. Just by clicking, you can fire attacks at enemies. We're going to see that put to use here right away. And the way that these attacks work is you can fire them in volleys. So what Shed's going to be doing is trying to mash out single pace shots and then volleys of 2 against all these enemies and take them as quickly as possible. And if Sign cooperates, they'll all go down pretty well, which looks like we did get. So very nice Frankie fight.
Yeah, I've been having trouble with that today, so I'm glad that went okay. That damage is fine. We'll actually want to be at a pretty low amount of life soon enough.
Yeah, there's a trick coming up called a ghost door, which involves opening a keystone door, saving, and then dying. And that just lets you skip the animation of the door opening. It saves just a couple seconds. And it makes the start fun, because often when you want damage boost down to 1 health, right now, Shed, oh, well, you got a health drop, but, that's okay, because you can manage it off these slimes.
Oh, we could talk about the UI right now as well, that would be good.
Yeah, there isn't one, because you can toggle it off in this game, which instantly skips all dialogue. That's very desirable, but it means you're playing without being able to see your health. So, Shed will be popping it on and off. There's some tricks he wants it on for, and maybe checking up on resources sometimes, but if there's any dialogue coming up, you just want to turn the UI off and not have to deal with it.
We can also talk about XP right now. You see enemies and a bunch of world objects dropping these little orange orbs everywhere. That's just XP. When you collect enough, you'll level up, and that does a couple things, notably. It refills our health and energy. It gives us an ability point to spend to upgrade our skills, and it causes a large explosion that damages everything on screen. We're going to be using all 3 of these with timed level ups throughout the entire run, which means our XP is very carefully routed.
Yeah, later on it becomes a bit easier to manage because it's largely done off of big, 100+ experience orbs, but at the start here, it can be pretty tricky because you have to rely on all these, little bits of experience and, the level up there blowing up all the stuff so he doesn't have to deal with it on the way out.
Alright, we're approaching our second skill now. This is going to be wall jump. It does exactly what it says in the tin. We can jump off walls. If you played a platformer, you know what that's like. Ori's specifically allows us to wall jump up single walls, which is not especially common, but it looks a little bit like this. And we're going to collect our second energy cell. We'll be collecting a total of 5 energy cells throughout this route, but that's just our second for now.
There's some cool little tech with wall jump already that you'll see Shed doing at the tops of these walls, although it's kind of hard to pick out. When you normally just jump up a wall and you're pushing into it, Ori will kind of vault around the edge in kind of this slow arcing fashion, but if you go to a neutral left-right input on your last wall jump at the top of the wall, then you curve around it much closer and sometimes do cool little backflips.
Yeah, those are called ninja jumps. I like doing them. They're pretty fun. Right now we're going to be heading, we're going to actually completely forego the casual path, which wants me to head left. there at the top, we're going to head to an area known as Blackroot Burrows that is exclusive to the definitive edition of the game. It's a brand new area, does not exist in the original. Notably, it adds 2 more skills, one of which we are very, very much going to need.
Yeah, dash is in here right away, and that's super good. But coming up right now, there's an important trick which breaks a lot of stuff in this game, called Save Anywhere, or Menu Storage, or something. Whoa, okay, well, that's fine, because we have a safety save. So anyways, coming up to enter Blackroot, there's a little trick called Save Anywhere, and by doing some tricky inputs, not that tricky, you just press cancel and proceed at the same time. While having the ability menu up, you get the ability to move around the world with the ability menu, obscuring the screen. And this is useful because every time you level up an ability, the game saves, and this, in this case, lets you skip this entering Blackroot cutscene, which saves about 20 seconds. In later uses, it's going to do far more broken things, but that's our first Save Anywhere use.
Yeah, notably, if you save in the middle of a cutscene like that and reload, the game thinks the cutscene's already done, so we don't have to watch it. Pretty great.
Yep.
So while we're here in Blackroot, this area is kind of slow. We have to bring an orb from the bottom left here to the top right in order to lift the darkness to collect dash. So in the meantime, if you want to talk exactly about what this category is and what it means.
Yeah, so far we've done fairly normal things that pretty much every category will do in this run. But the thing about reverse event order is there's 6 world events in this game, which correspond to each of the 3 dungeons. They're finishing those dungeons, basically, and collecting their dungeon keys. And because we have a lot of glitches that we can apply to break open the sequence of the game, you can actually do it completely in reverse. So rather than your normal progression of get the first dungeon key, finish the first dungeon, get the second dungeon key, finish the second dungeon, we're going to finish the last dungeon, kind of, or trigger the event at the end of it, then pick up its key, which we won't really use, and then finish the second dungeon, grab its key, and finish the first dungeon, and grab its key. So we're not going to care too much about front doors in this run, but we will be picking up keys because they are world events.
Exactly. And like Sig said, this is notoriously one of the glitchiest categories of this game, just because of all of the stuff we need to do in order to do all of that stuff backwards. But that's sort of going to come up near the end of the run. The beginning parts of the run is collecting the skills we're going to need, and specifically doing that in ways that avoids the world events that we need to collect in backwards order at the end. But here we're coming up on the Darkness cutscene. I'm going to skip it with a Save Anywhere. This one's going to look a little bit different than the first one you saw because I'm going to be stacking cutscenes instead of skipping them. But it saves time still. It's the same idea.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff. These cutscenes will interact in a way where, like, a short cutscene plays at the same time as a longer cutscene, and then he gets control back because the short cutscene ends and stuff like that. But first, we just have to, wait for some of this cutscene to progress, and then we'll be able to start going out of bounds pretty soon.
Oh yeah. First, we're going to collect a dash here. We mentioned it's a very fast skill. It says dash quickly along the ground like that. It's also a very glitchy skill, as you'll see soon enough.
Yeah, dash is pretty crazy. So coming up on this next section, this is the boulder escape, and this boulder is it tries to move and it tries its best to kill you, but instead we're just going to get into a little specific spot and crouch, and instead it's going to help us find our way to the grotto.
But first, we're going to place a save point out of bounds like that. One of the abilities we leveled up during one of the Save Anywhere glitches is called Rekindle, and that allows us to reuse save points without spending any energy. So we're going to place that save point out of bounds, come up here, collect a health cell to increase our HP, stand on this teleporter so we can teleport to it later, and then we're going to come down here, reuse the out of bounds save point, and respawn, and we're back out of bounds again, which lets us fall down into Moon Grotto.
Yep, this is just a nice skip of a rather long section of intended play, or a rather long sequence break for, non-out-of-bounds usage. And what Shed's gonna do here looks a little strange, potentially. He's just kind of waiting around. And this is to set up these crusher cycles in a favorable way, because we now have to go through this area several times. Right now, Shed has 1 keystone, and we're going to want to have more.
You see, I had 1 keystone, now I have 2. That was a key duplication glitch. Basically, we died while the key was in the door and respawned at a save point that's far enough away that the door isn't loaded. And we're going to do that again so you can see it again. I have one keystone, one's in the door, and now I have 3. This is important because these keystones can be used on any door. They're not tied to specific doors. I can use any keystones on any door in the entire game, so I'm basically saving them for later.
Yeah, and we'll just grab one more keystone here because this dupe is not really fast, but it's the best option available to us. Most runs of this game will duplicate keys in the Getso tree, which is much quicker, but we can't really get in there so easily because we can't go in the front door because we can't pick up the key. So
right.
We'll do that one instead.
Here we got another skill. This is double jump. Again, just like wall jump does exactly what it says, I have 2 jumps now. This isn't a particularly glitchy skill, it's more just useful. It's good movement. Well, maybe required air quotes for a lot of the areas in this game, just navigating them. You'll also see me using it just wall jumps combined with double jumps to travel up walls. That's just slightly faster than normal single wall jumps.
Yeah, so now we're gonna play inbounds for a little bit, but coming up here is a nice little trick called the grotto skip, which is a skip of a long section where we chase Gumo, who's a guy we haven't really met yet, around left grotto, but instead Shed's just gonna jump up this right wall in a rather specific way, and we'll be just heading directly up the right side of grotto now.
We're also going to start doing some rekindle skips. This is the same idea as the save anywhere, but now that we have rekindle, we can skip some of these cutscenes with that instead of spending an ability point for the save anywhere glitch.
Yeah, and coming up now is an important trick in the run called hyperspeed, which gets used a couple times, but here what's going to happen is we're going to get forced kind of to walk along the ground, and Guma will drop the water vein and then we'll pick it up, but we can't take the water vein. That's the last event that we're going to pick up in this run. So what Shen's going to do instead is set up a save, rekindle the save while dashing after getting rid of this cutscene so that he can actually dash, and then use that on a reload to jump the water vein and leave it behind.
Did not get the hyperspeed. There we go. I have the hyperspeed, but I'm not allowed to collect the water vein, so I need to jump over it. There we go.
Nice.
Here we're doing another rekindle skip. This time we're going to see some blind movement. Basically, the camera thinks we're in the cutscene, but we're not. That'll happen a lot. And here we're going to progress through this area backwards, so we're going to see some cutscenes of Gumo carrying the water vein around, but we're seeing them in reverse order. A lot of categories do this, but I feel like it's pretty fitting for this one.
Yep, and that water vein is now just sitting there. Eventually we'll go get it. Much later into the run.
Like, almost literally the last thing.
Almost like it's the first event or something.
Oh my goodness. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of progressing through this area, inbounds for a little bit, collecting some XP. We're about to collect our first ability cell. That's a pickup that gives us an ability point to spend to upgrade our abilities and skills in Ori and such, without actually giving us any XP. We'll be getting a lot of these as the run goes out, but this is our first.
Yeah, these are super important in this category since you need to spend them to do saves at like spots the game doesn't expect you to save, like out of bounds, for example.
Exactly. Here we're going to use our first teleporter. This is the one in Swamp, and we're going to go back to the starting area because we are going to now go collect Charge Flame in a particularly interesting way. Sigma, what is a Terra Clip?
Yeah, so we saw that hyperspeed back there to jump over the water vein, and we're going to use the same effect, except we're going to do it right next to a wall. And by doing this correctly and then dying while that wall is unloaded, the game loads you back in with this insane hyperspeed speed, and then it loads the wall like a frame late and you go straight through it. So this is, you know, Dash just being used to its full broken potential, and we will just kind of fly into the Charge Flame area after shit gets this set up.
Setup looks good. There we go. Nice and out of bounds. Something to note is that Terra Clip trick can be done on literally every wall in the entire game.
Yeah, you have to be careful about like how you set them up because the terrain around it can make them different, but basically if you are determined to go to bounds in Ori, you can go out of bounds in Ori.
Oh yeah. So now we've collected Charge Flame. I'm going to do a cutscene skip on the tree cutscene, which will give me some blind movement here. Charge Flame's just a skill that lets us do this big explosion thing. We're not going to use it a whole lot, but we need the skill because it unlocks access to some abilities in the ability tree. And I'm talking fast because we've got another trick coming up, Sig.
Yeah, that's right. I think we are now gonna make use of that swamp teleporter again, but in a kind of weird way.
Yeah. So this is a teleport anywhere. We saw the save anywhere. Teleport anywhere is similar, but with a different menu, the teleport menu. And if I do it right, this will give me movement during the teleport, and if I stand on a platform in a weird way, we change where we teleport to, and it's actually below the teleporter, right where we want to be.
Yeah, and that one there is kind of minor. It's convenient because it drops us onto an ability cell and it gets us a bit closer to where we want to go, but later there's going to be some pretty major teleport anywheres where we bend the teleport way further and get to some very useful areas.
So here we are in Swamp now. We're going to be doing another Terra clip. Oh, I actually screwed it up, so we're going to have to reload a backup save. Thankfully, it's not too far away. Yeah, it was just right here.
Yeah, not too bad. These can be unforgiving.
Ow.
Like, basically, if you mess up any of them, you do have to just go back to saves, because you won't have enough points, basically, to finish the run, or you'll have to do some like, major farming later on.
There we go. So now, to do that Terra clip, we leveled up another ability. This one's called Air Dash. It's pretty nice. It allows us to dash once in the air. It's just a good movement ability. But we came to this area to collect another skill soon enough. We're supposed to be in this area with another skill that we're going to collect later on called Bash. But we're here early, and we don't have it yet. Ow. So we need to do some damage boosts in order to get past all of these Bash-intended obstacles. And that's going to happen again soon. We're going to collect Stomp here. You see me use it. It's basically a ground pound. You know what those are like. But we're going to do another Bashless trick here with the best name of anything ever. The Sublimely Magnificent Jack Stomp Mark III. Let's see if I can pull it off.
You just gotta keep coming back to see Mark 1 and Mark 2, but they're just not there. It's only Mark 3.
There we go. Second try. I'll take that any day.
Very nice.
And immediately after doing it, you have to take two health damage boosts. So that is the entire reason why we have 5 health in this category, is because of that trick.
Yeah, that pretty much does it. So now we're gonna get out of Swamp, but unfortunately there's all these walls and poison water and stuff in our way, so we'll just Terra Clip again. And we need to be getting Charge Dash soon, and we're getting to that. That's the next dash upgrade, which is extremely powerful.
Here, I'm going to stop my momentum with a Stomp canceled with a double jump. That's going to be useful later on as well. It basically just stops all my dash momentum on the spot to fall down to the area I want to be in faster. I should have a level up here. Oh, we're close. Alright. I'll be able to get it with just a couple little tiny bits of farming. There we go. Alright, so we talked about that warp displacement trick earlier on. How's about we do one a little bit more severe?
Yeah, this is a colossal deal for this category. The original versions of Reverse Vent Order had a very hard time getting into Ginso. We would in fact be off exploring the left side after having picked up Stomp, trying to get, Feather and Charge Jump and all this power to get us into Ginso. But Warp Displacement is amazing, and we're going to get into the Ginso tree by bending a teleport aimed at the Swamp teleporter off these hanging platforms and blades here. And it doesn't quite get you in, so what Shed's gonna do is he's gonna have this ability menu up during this, and then he's gonna save in the void off to the left of Ginso and dash in. So hopefully this goes well.
Yeah, this is... Oh, that did not go well. Well, that's why I backed up the save, so I could try it again if it goes as poorly as it just did. Let's see if we can do it again.
Yeah, it's a bit finicky because you have to have the teleport go off as this platform kind of swings into the right position that you manipulate during the teleport animation, so it's quite a trick. That's to say the least.
That looks better. Oh, no it doesn't. I lied. I think I saved a little bit early there, so the teleport actually went off as it is, air quotes, intended to, instead of me manipulating it.
Yeah, one thing this game tries to do to keep you in bounds, because, you know, in development I'm sure they realized there was ways to get out of bounds, is if you're in a marked out of bounds area, every second you'll just get reset to your last save. So that you can also kind of get unlucky during this and get reset immediately when you're teleported.
That's not gonna work. Oh boy. This is the part I was kind of scared of, doing this run in a marathon, because this trick is pretty finicky.
Yeah, the good news though is this saves so much time over any other way of entering Ginso that we can take, you know, 5-10 minutes doing this and it'll still be better
than the old routes, yeah. That looks good. I lied, it doesn't look good. I am confused now, actually. Alright, I believe this is the one. Let's do it on this one.
This is it.
I would like it if that slime would stop dropping health. That would be lovely. Alright, here we go. There we go!
Alright, so now we're in the void left of Ginso, and using Charge Dash right away after leveling it to dash to the right sends us into the first room of Ginso.
And I got all the way into the second room. Beautiful.
Oh, nice!
So yeah, there we go. We mentioned Charge Dash right there. That is the last upgrade we are going to use for Dash. I actually did a Charge Dash Hyperspeed there, which is faster than the normal Hyperspeeds we've seen so far. But Charge Dash is really, really, really good. It's very fast. It homes in on enemies nearby. The downside is that it costs an energy to use, but there are ways of canceling that, which we'll talk about in just a bit. Here we're going to do another out of bounds by rekindling a save that's behind a pushable block.
Yeah, you load back in and the game's like, oh gosh, you can't exist inside this block, we'll just push you down, which is out of bounds, and that's conveniently to this portal.
Here's a mini-boss. If I do this right, he won't actually exist. Goodbye.
See ya.
That was the power of Charge Dash right there, by the way. It, on top of moving fast and homing in, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's right. And mainly the reason for collecting a bunch of energy is just to Charge Dash more, because, gosh, Charge Dash is good.
It's fast. I have a lot of health. I would normally go store again here. Actually, I'm just going to go store anyway by doing this. Alright, so now we're at the Bash tree. Bash is Ori's most iconic skill, I would probably say. Very powerful skill. It allows us to grab enemies and projectiles in the world, throw them in one direction, throw ourselves in the other. We can also grab these like lanterns, things like this. It's very, very good. It's also a way we can charge dash without spending energy. If we end our charge dash with a bash, then the energy is not actually spent. There's also a glitch with bashing called double bashing, where I can send basically, I can bash twice. It's technically a frame-perfect trick, and the first arrow tells me where the object I'm bashing goes, and the second one tells me where Ori is going. I had to think for a moment, because I couldn't remember which arrow does what.
Yeah, it's just really useful, because you can kind of juggle things along with you, and this skill makes the rest of the game basically flow quite smoothly, so that's why this placement in Ginso was so valuable, because now we can use Bash to just speed through, you know, the rest of the game, collect everything we need to set up the rest of the events that we have to go collect later.
So here, this is where we're supposed to clean the water, but that's the second event, and we're going to do that second to last, so bye, we're going to leave. We're going to teleport out of the top of the Ginso tree down to Swamp, and now we're going to be heading to the left side of the map. Sig, do you want to talk about rocket jumps?
Yeah, so dash, you know, it's super great for moving sideways. Charge dash as well. Moving sideways very fast, moving at enemies very fast, but you can also fly up with it, because for some reason when you cancel a charge dash with a jump, your horizontal speed gets set back to 0, but your vertical speed does not. So if you happen to be homing in on an enemy that was above you and you cancel out of it, then you just completely soar into the sky.
It's
and
wonderful.
We'll see a bunch of those because they're so fast.
There, that was our 5th and final energy cell we're going to be collecting. We're in a pretty early area of the game casually, but we're here late and with a lot of really neat abilities. There's actually a huge cutscene in our way soon enough, but I'm going to use an enemy manipulation. I'm just going to drag an enemy along for the ride and use bash to make him allow me to skip the cutscene by bashing over the trigger. We'll see that pretty soon here, if I can move myself correctly. There we go. This guy.
This is actually a pretty unique manipulation of this enemy. Normally, I mean, you can do this skip faster if you can spare ability points to just do the save anywhere trick that we've seen multiple times already. But we're very, very starved for ability points in this category, so this is the better way to get over this cutscene by just jumping the trigger like that.
Yeah, I actually like that strat was found for the glitchless or like less glitchy categories, and then we use it in one of the most glitchy categories. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So
some
now
more
we're
ability point collection as we go to Valley.
Yeah, we're in the Valley entry section. This is just kind of honestly my personal favorite movement section of like any speedrun of this game is Valley entry for any category. It's just some really neat bash manipulations, and we have charge dash as well, so we'll get to do a bunch of rocket jumps and stuff. It's great. Coming up is a trick called Fast Stompless. That'll be soon enough. First is things first, I'm going to stomp on an enemy's head, which is going to break a wall that I shouldn't be able to break.
Yep, pretty useful. Get another ability cell. Lots of those.
Just in case.
Yeah, so Fast Stompless is a pretty interesting trick. What you're supposed to do here is head off to the left and go stomp on some rocks, which will drop them on Kuro's head, a big bird who's the main antagonist of the game that we haven't seen yet. And
oh boy.
Ooh. Okay, well...
Spider was not nice to me, so I'm gonna cancel that and try again.
Yeah, so what went wrong there is there's an ability cell that you want to get while this shot is traveling to the left to break the rocks. You're supposed to break the stomp. And missing ability cells in this category is disastrous, so just give it another try.
There we go. So yeah, we launched a shot off to go break some rocks above Kuro's head, but there's a wall in its way, so we left very quickly to deload that wall so the shot could travel all the way to the rocks, which for some reason remained loaded. And then I needed to collect that ability cell during the trick so that we have it for later.
Yeah, this knocks a feather off of Kuro, which acts as a little parachute for Ori. You can ride up at wind currents, you can slow your fall with it. It's nice for just a bit more air control. And we're going to put it to use soon, but first we need to get to some air currents, which are present in Suro Pass. After, of course, we collect more abilities, so we need those. Yep.
But coming up is one of the more notorious tricks of this entire speedrun, which is Sorrow Bash. It's an enemy manipulation that allows us to skip the entirety of the second dungeon of the game, and I'm going to shut up while I try it.
Yeah, so this is really tight. The spikes do a lot of damage. The bird gets one shot by the spikes. Shed will get two shot by the spikes. He needs this bird to survive, get in through this elbow, and he is up there. Nice.
Went too high. So now we get to see more rocket jumps. Sorrow Pass is a very vertical area, which means rocket jumps are fantastic, and in fact, they're going to allow me to make this frog break the ceiling for me. There we go. We're going to do another key dupe here is after I float through the Dorito Dungeon of Hell. There we go. That's just for later, because we'll need more keystones later on. Some more XP. And here we go. So we're coming up on Charge Jump. Charge Jump is going to be the last skill that we collect in this category, the last one we need. And after that, we're going to go ahead and actually start collecting the world events. Backwards, of course, but we can actually start doing it.
Yeah. So we're all set right now. It's time for the event cleanup, which means it's time to get to the last dungeon. But we can't pick up the key because that's the 5th event, not the 6th one. So instead, we're just gonna do some out-of-bounds tricks to get there. But first, we need to go get the Soro teleporter, because we don't want to do Soro Bash again. It's much faster to just teleport back here, and we've got to teleport anyways, so let's do it from here.
I'm gonna dash into spikes a couple times first. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's gonna allow me to try that spider skip again, which is good, because I failed it the first time. There we go. Something I'm doing a few times that we haven't actually mentioned yet is if you neutral jump off of a wall and then air dash, you get a little bit of a faster speed for whatever reason. Pretty great.
Sorry. It's weird.
Yeah, Ori, TM. So yeah, we're, as Sig mentioned, we're gonna out of bounds into the last dungeon, which means we actually need to come back to Ginso first.
Yeah, the entirety of Ori is all on the same map, and the final dungeon is just left of the Ginso tree, basically. And this dungeon has a lot of height to it. In fact, we're gonna go down a long ways and still land in the last dungeon, just because it's convenient to get out of bounds down in the room that we used that block to push us out of bounds before. We're going to use that again, but now we're going to stay out of bounds and use charge dash to cross the gap very quickly.
The gap of void, of course, which means the game's trying to respawn us every couple seconds or whatever. So we're going to use save anywheres and hyperspeeds to travel through the void piece by piece until we'll make it all the way to Horu. And hopefully, after I back up this save, that'll look a little bit like this. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Cool. Now we're in Horu.
Nice.
Charge dash is so fast, by the way, that lasers don't exist.
Yeah, you just go straight through them. You move so quickly that the game can't detect that you're in the laser on any frame. One frame you're on one side of it, the other frame you're on the other. So
here, there's real quick. There's
an
autosave in the middle of this cutscene, and if you reload on it, you get teleported to the main room of Horu. It's really convenient. Please continue.
Yeah, so doing that room also finished the right side of Horu, which is really convenient. Normally there's ways to skip directly into the final escape, but then we can't leave again, and we need to be able to leave again in this category since this is just the beginning of our event collection, not the end of our run. So we'll finish the left side of Horu first, and to do that, we climb up here, farming more experience because we need ability points desperately. And then we're going to just tear a cliff and fall down the left side because the left side has many rooms, they take forever, and we'd rather just slip on past them.
I'm gonna slide through the wall here, past all of these rooms that we don't need to do anymore, and there we go. Also, turns out we won't actually need to do this room either, if I do this correctly. There we go, first try. Good stuff. That's called a door warp. If you press up to go through a door on the frame that a door loads, it sends you who knows where. It's different for every door. That one happens to put us exactly where we want to go. So we've now completed both sides of Horu, despite doing none of both sides of Horu. And that drains the lava in the main room, which allows us access to the Horu teleporter. I'm going to charge dash through a wall. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I fight a mini-boss very poorly. People in the community are going to be mad at me that I'm fighting this guy this bad, but it's okay.
Once upon a time, people were good at fighting this guy, but hardly any category goes here, so the setups for it
They've been lost to time. So that's the final escape. We can't do that yet, because if we go in, we get locked in. So I don't want to do that yet. Oh, I failed that rocket jump, so we're just going to do some double dashes instead.
Yeah, that works. So yeah, what we're setting up here is yet another teleport anywhere, so that we have a teleport queued up as we start the final escape, so that we can start it and then get teleported.
Oh, I failed it. That's fun.
Well,
that hasn't happened in a while. Let's try that again. I got the rocket jump this time, so that's good.
That's what you're all about, just showing off the real strats.
There we go. Alright, trigger the final cutscene. We're technically locked in this room, but we're teleporting, so bye, Ori. We got a little bit of blind movement here for a moment, but we haven't actually collected Warmth Returned yet. We started that cutscene, but we didn't quite get to the section of it where we get Warmth Returned, so we need to go back in the room and leave immediately again, and soon enough we'll actually have collected Warmth Returned, and I'll actually take a moment to pause the game and show you I have collected the last event without having collected any of the other ones.
So the final escape is in progress. We're not going to go back to it. We have better ways to finish the game. But now we're going to go into some fast event collection. Event 6 is done. We got Worm's Return. Now it's time to pick up the dungeon key to Horror, which we'll never use. So time to use that Sorrow teleporter to get back up there.
We're going to take a damage boost and then carry a Charge Jump's hitbox with a dash to break that wall, which you're supposed to have climb to break that wall, which we never got. There's some lasers in my way now. Cycles are unfortunate. Yeah, well now we just get to leisurely float up to collect the Sunstone. Which we didn't need, but we need to get per the rules of the category, so... There's a lengthy cutscene attached to it, so I'm gonna save anywhere here to skip it.
Yeah, we don't want to watch cutscenes. This one's like over a minute long, so we'll be willing to spend the ability points on this. It's faster to farm the ability points to skip this than to actually watch it.
If you saw for a moment on my pause menu there as I reloaded the game, I did in fact just collect the Sunstone. Now we're gonna head out of Sorrow.
Down.
Yep. Next on the list is going to be Wind Restored. That's in Forlorn Ruins, which we skipped earlier by doing Sorrow Pass. But Forlorn Ruins, it's kind of a neat dungeon. It's got this gravity-changing mechanic that's really cool, but it's also really slow. So, we skipped it earlier, and we're going to skip it again. By going to Misty Woods instead.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, normally you can't get into Forlorn Ruins without going to Misty Woods and getting the key, right?
Yeah, the key to enter Forlorn Ruins is in here in Misty Woods.
Oh, but wait, the key's the third event. We can't pick that up.
Exactly.
Dead?
Well, Sigma, as you might guess from seeing the rest of this run, we're gonna out of bounds. That's right. Alright, so Misty Woods, if you've noticed, is actually a really cool area as well. As you progress through it, the entire area changes, like, actively. New hallways open up, other ones close. It's really cool. But, the scene itself actually changes. Like, the walls appear and disappear. So, if we out of bounds to somewhere the game doesn't think we're supposed to be, turns out that parts of Misty just don't exist right now. And if I turret clip on this wall, I'm going to be holding this save anywhere up as well, so it's a little hard to see. But you should be able to see that Misty doesn't exist. I'm falling through the void right now. For some reason, this void also doesn't respawn you. That's a little strange. Also, I'm in Forlorn now. That's also a little strange. This is the end of Forlorn. That's incredibly convenient.
Yeah, so we're activating Wind Restored, and we have this handy save anywhere up to skip ourselves out of the Wind Escape, because the Wind Escape is pretty slow. So that's event number 4 that we're about to pick up, and now we move back to Misty and pick up that dungeon key, except Misty's a little broken, so we left it half done and look at
Absolutely. I'm gonna skip this cutscene in such a way, actually, that it's going to teleport me outside of the Forlorn Escape right to where we want to be, next to the Forlorn Teleporter. Nice and convenient. I'll pause to show you I have collected Wind Restored. Now we're going to do another Teleport Anywhere glitch. This one's not Warp Displacement. This one is called Gravity Glitch, because I mentioned Forlorn has this alternate gravity thing. Yeah, I'm going to use a Teleport Anywhere to take that to Valley instead. So now we're falling left, and we're not in Forlorn. And we're falling into Misty, but that still doesn't exist, so here's the Void again. Hello, Void, my old friend, I suppose.
Yeah, this is a nice friendly Void, doesn't respawn you.
Oh look, this is the end of Misty Woods, how convenient!
Ah, nice.
So, yeah, how you doing, Sig? Have a good day?
Yeah, it was pretty good. We don't have any way to speed up carrying this orb, so we just kind of got to jump around. The other orb's following us. Sign's kind of an orb. There's a lot of orbs here. But this is necessary to get the dungeon key to Forlorn, which, if you hadn't guessed, we're not going to use it. We're already done with Forlorn. We're never going back there.
Nope, we just need to collect the key to say we did. Ow, this slime is being very mean. Ouch!
Oh.
How rude. Please stop. Get out of my life. Oh, the orb's back here, actually. There we go.
Wrong orb.
Alright, there we go. This is where we get the Gumon seal, but it's got a cutscene attached to it, so we're gonna rekindle skip it.
This cutscene's kind of weird. You have to rekindle skip it twice for some reason, because there's just a stack of cutscenes here that are going on. So, Shed will do that, and then grab the Gumon seal, and go for some more blind movement while the cutscene does its best to finish up, and get ourselves out of Misty. 2 events left, cleaning the water, and getting the Ginso key. Fortunately, we have that Ginso teleporter, so we're going to put that to use again. And then go for a Ginso escape.
Where am I? There I am. Thank you, camera. Yeah, so coming up is the Ginso escape. That's how you clean the water, is you actually have to complete the Ginso escape. You can't just skip some cutscene at the start like we did for Wind Restored. But this is a lot of players, including mine, favorite area of the game, at least casually. It also has some of the best music, so I'm gonna shut up and let you listen to the wonderful music and watch my speedrunners practice and have way more skills than you're supposed to movement through this thing. There we go, we've cleaned the water.
Nice. So here we have one funny cutscene. You're going to see the only line of dialogue in the entire game, because for some reason if you don't see this line of dialogue, Ori decides to just stare at the sky for like 20 seconds. It takes forever. So we turn the UI on just for that, and then turn it off again.
And here we just need to go collect our water vein. I get to do a lot of fancy movement on my way there. It's pretty fun and great. Jump over a cutscene trigger there real quick. Say hi to our old friends that we saw earlier in the run. And there we go, here's the water vein that we left behind earlier. And we are all done. That's all 6 world events. We collected them backwards. All we need to do now is finish the game. So we're going back to the final escape, right, Sig? That's how this works?
Yeah, I mean, you have the Horde teleporter, the door to the final escape is open, you're surely just gonna... Wait, where are you going to Black Room?
So it would be unfitting if a category this glitchy didn't end with a glitch. We're gonna do one more warp displacement. And if I do it right, which I didn't, so let me reload.
Yeah, this is another kind of finicky warp displacement on swinging platforms. And the teleport is moving all the time while the menu's up, so...
Oof. This one's just as, if not more finicky than the one earlier. That looks good. Nope, I lied. Not enough swing. Menuing, please. Oh my god, I'm having so much trouble with this today. Nope. Please.
Yeah, these can be pretty horrifying at times. Since you can't like set up the platform and just stand on it, you have to do it with it swinging back and forth. And if you make any kind of mistake in your menuing on the way into it, like your timing's off, it's just a huge mess. So... Oh no!
Alright, here we go. I believe. There we go! Alright, so we warp displaced. And save anywhere. Directly into the final cutscene. We didn't have to do the final escape at all, we're just here right at the end. And yeah, this is the final cutscene of the game. All I need to do is skip Sign's dialogue because I forgot to turn my UI back off. And then hold right for a little bit. So time's coming up. I'll call it when it happens. We're just gonna watch this rather rotund dark character that we've never seen before, and probably isn't important. You don't need to worry about it. Walk to the right or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Save Ori or something. Seems a little backwards to me. I don't know.
And time. So yeah, that was Ori and the Blind Forest. Reverse event order. One of the glitchiest categories we have. There are a lot less glitchy categories as well. If you just liked some of the movement that you saw when I wasn't charge dashing through walls and all that stuff, just it's a pretty neat speedrun. It's actually, in my opinion, the best speedrun, but I didn't want to be too biased about it. Yeah, come check us out. We've got glitches galore. We've got less of those if you don't like them. It's fantastic. Plus, the community is amazing. So, oh, we also have a randomizer. I wanted to shout that out and just remembered. If you like that kind of thing, you can explore the entire world of Ori and the Blind Forest with every pickup in the game in a different location. Made by his truly Sigma, who is in the call with me right now.
Yeah, there's a tournament for that going on right now as well. If you catch it on any of the speed gaming channels. We're in the bracket phase of people randoing the heck out of each other.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So, yeah, thank you to the Valuethon guys for having me, letting me show off this wonderful run. And thanks, Sig, for joining me.
Yeah, great run, Chef. It was fun to watch.
That'll do it for us.